I wanted to circle back because we had a lot of questions about blind tasting. So, your blind tasting skills, Raj, is the stuff of legends in the wine world. Being able to name vineyards and vintages and winemakers just by tasting. So, people are interested in what advice you could give to become a better blind taster. Is this something that can be learned? Is this something that can be practiced? Or is it something that you are just born with this innate skill?
Oof. I don't think you're just born with it and you just have it. I think it's probably a combination of sorts. And I don't, okay, so let's make one thing very clear here. If you're doing a blind tasting to pass an MS exam, versus blind tasting to just crush and nail every wine is different.
Right.
So when I'm talking of training to be a good blind taster, I'm not telling, I don't recommend anyone to take an MS test on that behalf, because everyone I've trained to be an MS has failed the tasting part, because I don't taste like that. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great curriculum. For me, blind tasting is not studying the court, though the court program is amazing to be an MS for sure. I'm not saying that's what, but for me, blind tasting is the pure joy, spirit, heart of finding the wine from the place, right? That comes, it's instinct. It should become muscle memory, you know? It's not even like
palate memory,
muscle memory, whatever you say, you know, like the other day, Jose gave me a wine blind, and it was definitely late night, and you know I was definitely drunk, and in 5 seconds I said, this is 12 Clary Syrah, and that's what it was. There was no doubt in my mind what it was, you know. So you know, and that's just the memory of that wine I've had maybe whatever twice in my life or whatever 5 times in my life. It just takes you there. So how do you get there? You get there because you so quickly eliminate every other wine in your mind, because you kind of, you know, your mind is a Rolodex. And if you don't tell your mind it has to be a Rolodex, it won't be a Rolodex. So you start from that. You start from, like, you know, you have Syrah and then you taste classic IDS, which is kind of like fortunately dying now because the classics are moving backwards. So, you know, you just have to remember, you have to smell, you have to taste, you take notes, a lot of notes. Like, if you don't write a wine note down, you probably never remember a wine again, because you're telling your mind what your mind is telling your palate. So think of this. You're taking a note right now for wine. You're looking at label, whatever. I'm tasting 12 Arno Roberts Clary Syrah, and I'm writing green pepper, you know, pale, you know, low tannin, vibrant acidity. All these notes I've told. And these notes have come from my palate to my mind, and it's recorded in my head because I wrote it down. If I didn't write it down, I would probably not remember the wine the next time. But if I have that kind of wine again, which my mind already knows, even if I haven't had the vintage, I'll probably nail the wine.
When you travel, do you still take notes when you're visiting accounts?
No, after our last book, I don't. I mean, my blind tasting is a tenth of what it was in the heyday. So, but, you know, I don't practice that much anymore. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that it is kind of like a muscle. Once again, you have to keep in practice.
One of my favorite things was when I hire a young sommelier and I, you know, make him a real sommelier or make him a head sommelier or whatever. When I knew he's done with his training, I would take the person out and get him really drunk and then give him 6 wines blind. You know, and you know that's how you do it, because you should nail the wine if it's 9 a.m. or if it's 2 a.m. You gotta, like, it's got, again, back to the same kind of muscle memory. It's just like, you know, your palate, your tongue is a muscle.
Awesome. Practice.
Yes.
So we had a customer source question. I know I can answer part of this. What difference does a glass make in what you're tasting? obviously for blind tasting, you want to have a consistent glass that you use, but maybe for just at home enjoyment, does glass shape and style affect what you're doing?
Yes. So I've been doing this Instagram tastings, whatever, and I'm using the Riedel Overture glass, which in my mind, in my 20-some year career, is the best glass to taste wine from, to get to see it exactly the way it is. Okay. These glasses, there you go. Yeah. See, perfect shape.
It's a short stem though, but
It's all purpose, whatever. That's something, a glass like that. Now, of course, there's other glasses. There's Jancis Robinson glass and Zalto glass, and those glasses are great. If you get used to those, that's fine too. But those are like, a higher end and amazing glasses. So when I taste in the cellar, when I taste the wines in the cellar, I use a little kind of small, like a little copita glass, and like just a little French bistro glass, because for me, when I'm doing a blend of barrels, or if I'm tasting a wine before bottling to check on, I want to see as many faults as possible. But those glasses are not great. Like they're like, they show the wine in a very different way than a Zalto would or a Jancis Robinson glass, because they'll show off the wine and make it smell great and taste great, which they are. But if I taste it in the most generic glass, even though it has similar shape, it will give me a good idea of all the faults. It shows me the wine because I want to see what the deficiencies are. Even though it won't change anything, but I might just degas it, or, maybe sulfur will be changed a little bit, or whatever the case may be. Something we can do naturally without, of course, any additives, but it's important to taste a naked wine for me as a producer.
Awesome. Should we move on to the end game with some of these sort of bite-sized questions? Quarantine questions, if you will.
Let's do a rapid fire quarantine round here.
I like it.
All righty. What is your go-to quarantine drink? Wine or not?
Wine. It's only wine. It's the only beverage I drink. I drink mezcal once in a while, but other than that, it's only wine. Yeah.
And any favorites in the moment?
Oh my God! I've been on a tasting rampage. I've been opening minimum a case of wine from my cellar every day. Some Coravin, some not, but just been tasting. People are sending me a lot of wines while I'm doing these IG chats. I'm getting a lot of different things. So everything. My home wine. What I like drinking. I drink a lot of Belloir from the Savoie, a lot of Labé, Jura, of course it's gotten warm now, but I've been drinking a lot of Syrah. It's been a kind of a cold April here. Just everything, Pulsar, lots of Spanish, Canary wine. So just mixing it up, tasting a lot of things. Friends sending me bottles, what they've made, and just got a little care package from Dan Petrosky, Massican.
Ooh, yeah.
And Jordan sent me some of some interesting wines, Lacote made ones, and just a lot of things. Just tasting and just trying to keep the mind alive and keep pushing forward, so we can, when we get out of this, we'll still be in fighting shape. Won't be like. And you gotta be ready. You can't just you can't take it for granted.
Mm-hmm. What you drinking, Darren?
Because I've been drinking lower alcohol wines, Muscadet, Chaclis. I've been trying to stick with those because I've tendency to drink the whole bottle during this time that's been going on.
Yeah. Any guilty pleasures?
In general, or just since this?
Let's keep it safe out there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely my ice cream intake has definitely increased. So at this point, I'm eating a dairy-free ice cream because I can't stop eating ice cream. So it's bad, but it's not that bad.
I'm frozen chocolate. I've just like stacks of frozen chocolate bars in my freezer, and I just will eat half a bar a day easily. Yeah.
So,
But it's more of like a texture thing. It's frozen, so you can kind of like you get into like a meditative like just keep going. It's good. I highly recommend it. You can easily kill it 15 minutes.
We have a couple of chocolate bars here. I think I'm going to bring one home and try that tonight.
Yeah, frozen. Wow, cool.
Someone wanted to know if y'all picked up any new hobbies besides live streaming and tasting wine during this time here.
I did not pick up a hobby, but I did kind of get back on my bike after I had an accident a year and a half ago. So now I've got enough strength to get back on the bike. So that's been a huge advantage and really, really fun to kind of, ride a bike again.
Always, we all cook. We all do cook. Most of us do. I can't bake for the life of me, but I've been trying to do that as well. But I've also been playing poker. Yeah. Poker. Yeah. So my group in Boston, they're a bunch of wine guys too, and they're collectors. And like once every 2 months, we get together and play poker. And usually we'll line up wines blind, and then winner hosts. So you take wines from your cellar, about 10 to 12 bottles, and then everybody comes over and we play, and then we reveal the wines at the end of the day. But we can't get together, obviously, so we play online, and then we all just drink online. So.
Yeah, lots of cooking for sure. Cooking has been big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for all of us, cooking is a nice way to kind of get lost in the moment.
We've made a lot of bad bread in my house. So,
yeah, bread's been big around. I haven't done the bread, but maybe I'll do it next week. But yeah, I've been making Thai curries from scratch. That's been really fun.
Dude,
nice.
I've been trying to like use everything. Like before we were all locked in the homes and you were worried about where your next grocery store run would come from. Like I'm like, I would like take the kale and leave the stalks, but now I'm like, no, you can't throw the stalks away. We need to chop those up and do something with it. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, I took a tip from Tom Colicchio, and I have a bag in the freezer of all my little vegetable leavings, and I just throw stuff in there and it becomes a stock when the bag gets full. It's like a depression error theory right there.
Yeah, it's a really good move. I do that with like bones of chicken and things like that.
Yeah.
It's good. Smart.
I guess kind of going off of that, is there a specific dish from a restaurant that you are specifically missing right now?
Oh, of course. I'm missing my Zuni chicken. Jesus. I mean, this is the longest I haven't had Zuni chicken ever in my life. I mean, I've been eating Zuni chicken minimum once a month, minimum, and I've eaten it as much as 15 times in a month. So that's what I'm missing a lot. So as this thing ends, as the restaurant opens, I'm heading there to grab my chicken.
Pizza. I miss pizza. Luigi's, the best place in New York closed or got new ownership like a few months ago before, but then Old Man Gio and Luigi Grandma Pie, I miss that. That's what I miss.
All right. One more question crowdsourced. We have a customer curious what you would recommend for a type of wine or region that's accessible but off the beaten path.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, I think Spain is a pretty, undervalued place. I mean, you can find some pretty delicious wines from everywhere from, Galicia area or Canary Islands is a really special place for, really fun, delicious, drinkable wines. Spain, I think, has more value and interesting wines right now in the world.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, I think that is that's all of our main questions, and I think we've got a lot of content here. I think this is
we went over time, so
I mean,
but
really appreciate you guys doing this. I think it was fun, and it gives us one of our favorite retail spots in the country. So it's obviously enjoyable to spend some time with you guys and to get Raj to spend some time on the virtual. He's been doing it a lot, but it's
I
very
bet.
yeah.
But we really appreciate y'all spread around the country. But it's good to see your faces. It's good to connect with good friends and talk about good wine and kind of get ourselves out of the moment and let people in on these great conversations. So we couldn't thank you guys enough for making the time to hang out with us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really, stay safe.
Yes.
Sell lots of wine because people like me are drinking wine at home. I'm sure people are drinking wine everywhere. So
They sure are. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Stay safe where you are.
We will. Be safe.
Thank you.
Say hi to Raleigh.
Will do.
We will.